Muse for you, awesome websites without code.
Hey, what's up Musers? John with Muse for You, here to help you build awesome websites without code. And I'm really excited to do today's video tutorial. In today's tutorial, we're going to be creating a sliding down parallax menu with the Muse Motion widget. So a few days ago, I just released an update to the Muse Motion widget. It is now Muse Motion 1.5. And with this new update, you are able to create a sliding down parallax menu where the page scrolls up, and as it's scrolling up, a menu reveals itself from the top. So here I have an example website, and we notice this 500 pixels here, which I added to showcase when the menu reveals itself. So I'm scrolling down, and when that 500 pixels reaches the top of the browser, we have this menu reveal. So this is what we'll be creating in this video tutorial. I've actually written down all the steps, and I'm also going to be leaving a complete guide in the show more section below. There's going to be a link to a guide on how to create the sliding down parallax menu. So it has images and everything. So everything I'm going to cover in this tutorial is going to be in the guide, which you can click on in the show more section below. So here again, we get to the 500 pixel mark, the menu reveals, and when I scroll up, it hides the menu. So here I have another example. This is the template I recently released as well. It's the restaurant template. And as I scroll down, we have the menu reveal itself. So what's really cool about this menu is that you can customize all the easing and the speed within the Muse Motion widget, and we're going to go over all of that in this tutorial. So you can get a really custom menu revealing from the top. You can also make the menu any height you want. You can place anything within the menu or the top bar here. So it's all really customizable. And when you resize, so we'll notice here, once we get to the lower breakpoints, I've actually changed what's in this top bar here. So here it's just kind of the logo type for the restaurant. You could place like another like menu, like a hamburger menu in here to kind of showcase the menu. But I just wanted to showcase revealing it on lower breakpoints as well. So it's really a really cool menu. I've gotten this request a lot, so I was really excited to release this new update in the Muse Motion widget to allow for this effect to be achieved with the menu. All right, so here's the guide that's going to be in the show more section below, and it goes through all the steps I'm going to be covering with images and everything. So looks good. You can just go through it and follow along, and there's just a few steps to create this really nice menu on your website. You could even have anything. It doesn't have to be a menu. It could be anything revealing from the top, but it works really well for menus because as the user scrolls, rather than not seeing the menu, it can just reveal, and it kind of grabs the user's attention as they're scrolling through the site. So to gain access to the Muse Motion widget, you can simply go to museforyoushop.com, and here you can click subscribe today. And here you can click subscribe now to get access to all widgets and templates I come out with for $39 a year. Here we have the Muse Motion widget, and here you can click add to cart to purchase individually, or again you can click subscribe to get access to all widgets and templates I come out with for $39 a year. And here we have a few of the features included. We have the changelog and a few video tutorials on the Muse Motion widget. I'll go ahead and read the changelog for the 1.5 update to kind of go over everything that's been added in the new update. So the first one here is added on scroll with reverse option for the motion start. This allows you to trigger the motion when the page is scrolled a certain amount. When the page is less than the scrolled amount, the motion will play in reverse. Also added creating a sliding down parallax menu documentation, which I just went over. The on-scroll option has been added for the color widgets, so you can change the color of elements on scroll. Certain options are now disabled if they do not pertain to a specific motion start. This makes it easier to navigate through the widget options when working with the widget. So if you're working with specific options, like if you're working with the on-scroll option will be available. If you're not working with on-scroll, like if you're working with on-click or on-hover, the on-scroll option won't be available, and it just makes it a bit easier to navigate through the widget options. There's the ability to end the motion, restart the motion, or reverse the motion when the element exits the viewport for the on-scroll option, and remove the Muse Motion Various widget, as the same motions can be applied with the Muse Motion 12 Motions widget. And there's also updated code within the widget. All right, so that's the Muse Motion page. I'll go back here to the documentation or the creating a sliding down parallax menu. All right, so I'll go ahead and get started. This is the guide here. There will be a link below in the show more section below. But yeah, I'll go ahead and get started on creating the sliding down parallax menu with the Muse Motion widget. So here I have all the steps outlined. So the first step is go to the master page. So here I'm going to go to the plan view. And when you first create a site, you'll have the plan view. So you have the home and then you have the A master. I'm placing it on the A master so that if I create new pages, because I am creating a menu, if I create new pages, the menu will be applied to those pages as well. Because usually when you have multiple pages, you have the same menu across multiple pages. So by placing it on the master page, I can just quickly add pages and the menu will be applied to those pages if that master page is applied to them. All right, so the second step is to add a state button. So to do that, we're going to go to Object right up here, and we're going to go to Insert Widget, and we're going to go to Button, and then State Button. All right, I kind of clicked on that a little bit too quick, so let's do that again. Object, Insert Widget, Button, and then State Button. Okay, so I'll click there, and then I'll just place it here on the site. The second step is to place the State button above the page. So we're not going to place it at the top of the page, we're going to place it above the page. So here, if I zoom in, it's flush with the bottom of the top of the page, just like that. So it goes off the page because we don't want to see it initially. We want it to reveal itself coming down like this with the Muse Motion widget. We're going to apply that motion so that when the user scrolls, this will come down like this. So we want it above the page, and so the bottom of the state button is flush with the top of the page. Okay, so the next step, step number 4, is set the state button to stretch to browser width with the built-in Adobe Muse resize option in the upper control bar. So we're going to select the state button, then we're going to go to resize right up here in the upper control bar, and we're going to say stretch to browser width, just like that. So now the state button spans the entire width of the page. And the next step is step number 5, which is set the height and format the state button. So here we want to set a specific height for the state button because that's the height we're going to apply within the Muse Motion widget so that the entire state button reveals itself from the top to the bottom. So this will make sense when I'm adding the Muse Motion widget. So here I'm going to select the state button, and here in the height option, I'm going to say 75. And notice that the link is not constrained here. If it was like this, the height, the width would change with the height. I just want the height and width to change independently. So I'm going to uncheck this and set this to 75. Okay, so the width doesn't change as well. All right, so now we have the state button is 75 pixels. We noticed it went into the page, so I just want to drag it above the page again. So the entire state button is above the page. I also want to delete this lorem ipsum text because I'm not going to be using that. So I'm just going to click on it and delete, so there's nothing in the state button. And if you notice the state button, which is, we're going to set height and format state button. So we've set the height, now we want to format it. And if you notice that the state button here, the corner radius, the corners has a bit of a radius to it. So it's not completely like a 90-degree angle. It's more of a corner, and I don't really want that for the menu. I want it to be a perfect rectangle that comes down. So here I'm going to select the state button, and right up here in Adobe Muse we have what's called the corner radius. And all I have to do here is check each corner to make it a perfect 90-degree angle. I almost said perfect, but we want it to be a perfect 90-degree angle there. All right, so that's formatting the state button. Oh, we also want to remove the states from the state button. So if we click on the state button and we go to the upper left-hand corner of Adobe Muse, we have the states panel. So if I click on normal, we're going to notice that the rollover state and the mouse down state are black. So right now it's gray for the normal state, and then when you roll over, it's black. So I don't want those states because I don't want the user to kind of see a different color when they're rolling over the menu. So I'm going to click on rollover, and right down here we have this trash can symbol that if I click on it, it removes the rollover state and the mouse down state, and it sets it to the default state, which is the normal state here. So now there's no different states for the state button. It's just one color, and the color won't change when the user hovers over the menu. Okay, So there we formatted the state button. I could also make it any color. I can just change the background color of the state button. I can select any color here for the state button there. I'm going to leave it gray for now. I might style it a little bit later. But yeah, we'll just leave it that color for now. Okay, so moving on to step number 6, it's pin the state button to the top center with the built-in Adobe Muse pinning options in the upper control bar. So this next step is really important. You want to make sure that this top bar is pinned to the top, so when it reveals itself, it stays fixed to the top of the page and the top of the browser. So here I'm going to select the state button, and right up here we have the built-in Adobe Muse pinning options. I want to pin it to the top center, just like that. That's all we have to do there to ensure that when the menu reveals itself, it stays pinned to the top center of the browser. Okay, so that was step number 6. So now we're going to move on to step 7, which is add the Muse Motion widget. So here I'm going to go to the library panel here to the right, and if you don't see the library panel, you can go to Window and click on Library. Okay, so here I'm going to click on the library panel, and here I'm going to type in Motion to bring up the Muse Motion widget, and I'll just scroll down here. So we can now see that it's Muse Motion widget 1.5, which is the latest update. So here I'm going to click on Muse Motion, One Motion. So I'm going to click, hold, and drag and place into Adobe Muse because we only need one motion for the menu, which is going from the top to the bottom. So I'll place right there. Okay, so the next step is step number 8, which is set motion start option to on scroll with reverse. So this is what has been added in the new update. So in the select motion start, if I click the drop down, we now have this on scroll with reverse option. So if I click here, we now have access to the on scroll with reverse section, which is right down here. And here it says amount to scroll. So this is how much you want the user to scroll down the page before the menu reveals itself. So one thing you can do here to know exactly where the menu is going to reveal is to create a guide. So if you click on the ruler here at the top, just click the ruler, you can bring down a guide and you can set the guide at a specific point within the page. So right now in the widget, in the Muse Motion widget, it's set to 500 pixels. So here in the guide, I have the y-axis set to 500 pixels. So if I place it right there, and I think it placed it a little bit lower. Okay, so here we can see it's exactly at 500 pixels. So I've placed it there, and the menu is going to reveal when we're between step 10 and step 11 because I see the guide right there. So it's just a good reference. So when you're building the site, you can kind of say exactly where you want the menu to reveal itself. I'm going to leave it at 500, so I've placed the guide there at the 500 mark. So that was step number 8, which is set motion start option to on scroll with reverse. And then step 9, set amount to scroll, which we already did. I'm going to leave it here at 500 pixels there. And you can also disable the reverse motion. What would happen here is that the motion would, in this case, the top bar would reveal itself and would stay there. It wouldn't hide itself. It would just stay fixed within the top of the browser. And even if the user scrolls before the 500 pixel mark, the menu wouldn't hide. So that's just in case you didn't want to hide the menu or hide the element. You could just have it reveal once and it would stay on the page. Okay, so that was step number 9, which is set amount to scroll. Now step number 10 is apply translate Y motion within the motion options. So here if I open the widget options, we have the motion 1, so I'm going to click there. We can see enable motion 1 is selected, meaning we can apply these motions to a specific element. And then for the transform property right here, I'm going to select the drop down and I'm going to select translate Y. Okay, and then this next part is really important, which is the motion value. So we know that the height of the state button is 75 pixels. So here we set it to 75 pixels. If I go to the height option, it's 75. I want to place that value within the motion value so that the entire menu reveals itself. So here I'll go back into the Muse Motion widget, and for the motion value, I'm going to enter in 75, and we're working with pixels, so the unit of measurement is 75 pixels. So we want to set pixels here for the unit of measurement. Okay, we can also set the duration. I'm going to set it to 1 second, and then you can play with the easing options right up here. So we have a few different easing options, and you can set the easing type. So you can set ease none, ease in out, or ease out. So right now I'm going to leave the easing options to the default settings, and we can play a bit with it after we've set all the other options. Okay, so I think I've went through 11, 12, and 13, which is, set the motion value option to the height of the state button, set the unit of measurement to pixels, 13, set the duration and easing of the menu. So I just covered all of that. So the next step is to apply the graphic style name from the widget to the state button via the graphic styles panel in Adobe Muse. So if I open the widget options, we notice that the graphic style name is motion 1. And this is the graphic style name I want to apply to the state button so that the motion is applied to that state button. All right, so here I'll select the state button and I'll go to the graphic styles panel here to the right. And if you don't see the graphic styles panel, you can go to Window and click on Graphic Styles. All right, so I'll open the graphic styles panel. Notice I still have the state button selected. I'll go to the graphic styles panel, and then I'll create a new graphic style by clicking on this icon here. Kind of looks like a piece of paper with a folded corner in the bottom left. So I'll go ahead and click on that button, and then it creates a new style called Style, a new graphic style. I'll double click, and it opens the graphic style options dialog box. And here I'm going to give it the name Motion 1, Motion 1, because that's the graphic style name that is in the widget. So the motion will be applied to the state button. And here I'll select Enter. So now the state button has the graphic style name Motion 1. Okay, so that was step number 14. And step number 15 says you can now place anything you'd like in the state button. We're going to do that in a second. Let's go ahead and preview and make sure that the menu is revealing from the top of the page. So I'm going to go to File, Preview Page, and Browser. And once I get between 10 and 11, that menu should reveal itself from the top of the page. So I'm scrolling, and I need more scroll height. So I'm just going to drag this tab down here to add more scroll height to the page, and bring down the footer tab as well. And I'll go to File, File right up here, and then Preview Page and Browser. Okay, and I'll preview, and I'll scroll down, and right after the 10, the menu reveals itself. Perfect. So just like that, we have a sliding down parallax menu with the Muse Motion widget. All right, looks good. So now we can add anything to that state button. So here, let me just zoom in again. I'm gonna go to Object. I'm gonna place a menu. I'm gonna go to Object, Insert Widget. Then I'm gonna go to Menu and place a horizontal menu right in here. I'll place it in the state button. And you'll notice it places in the state button when there's kind of a darker outline to the state button. That's telling me that this menu is going to be placed in the state button. Okay, so here I'll click, place the menu. For menu type, I'm going to say manual, and we'll leave it at horizontal. So manual, I can place my own menu items, and it doesn't inherit top level pages and child pages from the plan of the website. So there I've added a menu. I'm not going to style it too much, just to save some time for this video, but you can style the menu to anything you'd like, and perfect. Okay, so now I'll preview again, preview page and browser. I'll scroll down, and just like that, we have a sliding down parallax menu with the menu here within the state button. Looks good. And because it's on the master page, if I were to create any other pages, so I can create as many pages as I'd like, and I'll preview. Yeah, so I'll go to that page, and the steps are on the master page as well, so they'll be on every page. So here I'm on another page, so it looks good. So you can have the menu on every page of your website. All right, so the last thing I'm going to cover, so we did step 16, which was preview and browser. Step 17 is done, so that's how you create the menu with the Muse Motion widget. The next thing I'll cover is adding breakpoints and changing the state button on lower breakpoints. So let's say you had another menu for the lower breakpoints. So for tablet and mobile devices, you could just add another state button and apply the Muse Motion widget to that state button as well. So here I'll just create a few breakpoints. I'll right click on the breakpoints bar, right click, add breakpoint, and I'll add a 768 breakpoint. And let's do another breakpoint. So I'll right click, add breakpoint, and I'll say 550, just like that. So let's say I don't want the menu on the 550 breakpoint. If you notice, if I right click on the menu in here, usually you're able to hide things on breakpoints. That's not the case with elements inside of a state button. Let me try to select the entire menu. So we notice here I can't hide the state button. It doesn't give me the options. So what I can do here, or I can't hide elements within the state button, but I can hide the entire state button. So if I right click, I can hide the state button in the breakpoint. So just like that. So on the 768 and the 960, I have this specific state button, and I'll add a different state button on the lower breakpoint. So I'll just go to Object, Insert Widget, Button, State Button. So there we go. I want to apply the same properties to this state button so it looks uniform. So here I'll delete the lorem ipsum. I'll set the height to 75, and let me just zoom out there, and I'll remove the corner radius just like that, and perfect. So there we have the other state button, and I'm just going to add some text for this state button just to show the difference. So I'm going to type in logo. Let's say you wanted your logo in here, or you could place like a hamburger menu in here for the mobile menu. So we have logo, and I'll set it to white, and perfect. So perfect, there we go, and it looks good. So if I were to preview this now, we're gonna notice what happens. So let me scroll down, then we have the state button, we scroll, and nothing. So around the 550 breakpoint, we notice it disappears, and that's because we haven't applied the Motion 1 graphic style name to this element. So all we have to do here is click on it, and here within the graphic styles panel, click on Motion 1, and that's it. We also want to make sure that the state button is the same height set within the Muse Motion widget, which is 75. And I'll just place it right up here. Let me center the logo or this text. And I also want to make sure that the state button is pinned to the top center. So basically everything we did with the first state button, we want to apply to this state button. We can then just change what's inside this state button for the lower breakpoints. So another important step, if I go to the 768 and the 960 breakpoint, we notice that this state button is on these other breakpoints as well. So I want to hide this state button on the other breakpoints. So I'm going to right click on the state button and select hide in other breakpoints. Okay, so now just this menu or this state button is on the higher breakpoints, and the state button is on the lower breakpoints. Okay, so I'll go ahead and preview just like that. So on the larger breakpoints, we have this menu, and if I resize to lower than 550, and I scroll down, we have this one, this state button. Okay, just like that, and I can resize. We notice it changes just like that. Perfect. So that's how you work with the state button on different breakpoints. You do want to add a new state button and hide that state button for the other breakpoints, and basically apply the same settings you did for the state button on the larger breakpoints. You can then add whatever you want for that state button on the lower breakpoints. All right, so that's basically it. Working with the sliding down parallax menu on lower breakpoints. That's basically what I did here for this site. So we notice on the larger breakpoints, we have this menu, and as I resize, we have the logo type there. Looks good. So we can also work with the easing options. I'll just do this really quick because this video is getting a bit long. So within the Muse Motion widget, I can go to the motion settings, and in the easing options, I can do something like Expo, and I can say like ease in out, and that'll have a different easing for the menu. So I'll scroll down, and we can see kind of has a smoother reveal, and it looks really interesting. Looks good, kind of like it has a bit of tension to it because it's kind of coming in slowly and then it reveals, which is kind of nice. And then you could do something really out there like elastic. So within the easing option, I set it to elastic, and let's go ahead and preview right in here, and I'll scroll down, and we have this elastic menu revealing itself. So you can have a lot of fun with the easing options. It just depends on the style of your website and what you're going for the animation of the reveal. All right, looks good. So that's creating a sliding down parallax menu with the Muse Motion widget. So all these steps are outlined within the guide. It has images and everything, so it's really easy to follow within the guide. It's in the show more section below, so you can just click there and follow along with this guide to create the sliding down parallax menu widget. Okay, so that's it for this tutorial. To gain access to the Muse Motion widget, you can go to museforyoushop.com, and here you can click subscribe today, and here you can click subscribe now to get access to all widgets and templates I come out with for $39 a year. Here we have the Muse Motion widget, Here we have the features included, a few of the widget options, and right down here we have the changelog. Here we have the GSAP and Adobe Muse series. It is using the GreenSock animation platform, which is a really powerful animation platform. So this video will be part of that series. And yeah, that's basically it for the creating a sliding down parallax menu with the Muse Motion widget in Adobe Muse. So that's it for this video tutorial. Again, I do this to help you build awesome websites without code. If you like this video tutorial, you can subscribe below. Also in the show more section below are links to other resources and links to museforyoushop.com. The guide will also be in the show more section below. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video tutorial. Thank you.
Muse for you, awesome websites without code.